welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com.
What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined every Friday by my main man, Derek Bell. Find us on youtube.com/allsteelerstalk, anywhere you get your podcasts. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the New York Jets. Week 4, the Steelers, somewhat of a must-win game. We expect changes. There are some big injuries, plenty to talk about. But first, it's a great day out here in the Burgh. It is freezing cold. I don't know what Kentucky looks like in the end of September, but it is freezing cold in Pittsburgh, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's a little chilly, man. I ain't gonna lie. It was a little chilly when I was walking out of work this morning. So, but yeah, I don't know. Something about that fall air makes me feel really good. I don't know. It feels like football season. So I'm kind of excited that, the 85, 90-degree weather is probably behind us.
Oh, yeah. Nobody likes 80-degree weather. Even people who are like, oh, yeah, I love the summer. No, you love the fall. The problem with fall is that it lasts about 13 days, and then it goes to straight winter. But you're right. There's nothing like, I go for runs in the morning, walked outside, saw the breath. I was like, oh, it's football season. It's just straight football season. It's not fall. It's football season. There's pumpkins everywhere. My house has pumpkins all over it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. Let's get into the Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Jets, week 4. Steelers are 1-2 heading into this game. Kind of a must win. Let's start there. Do you look at this game and say, if the Pittsburgh Steelers lose, it's over? Or do you look at this game and say, it's still early and there's no need to panic?
They need to win this game. I don't know if you can ever call like a week 4 game like a true must win. Maybe we do overuse that phrase a little bit, but I definitely think this is one they absolutely have to have. And the reason is just because of the schedule they have coming up. Buffalo, Tampa, Philly, Miami. I mean, they're not going to be favored in any of those 4 games as of right now. And I don't really know that I expect that to change, even if they win on Sunday. So just with that stretch of games coming up before the bye week, this is one that they absolutely have to have.
I agree. I think that you look at this and it's week 4, 1-2. You're only a game behind in the AFC North. Like, it's not detrimental if you lose this game, but you can't expect to win in Buffalo. I mean, I don't know what the Miami situation is going to be moving forward. Yeah. So maybe that game's a little easier than many people thought, but you can't expect to go into Tampa or to play Tampa and go into Philly and win all of them. You're probably going to walk out of the next 5 games with a losing record. That's okay. As long as you have enough to support you for the rest of the season. I think if you're 1-8 walking into the week 9 bye week, you're in trouble. If you're 3-5, you're looking at a much better situation coming out and playing New Orleans and the much easier half of your schedule. So I agree on that one. You look at the Jets. I believe it's they definitely lead the league in second-year guys in snaps. I'm not sure if it's the same with their rookies. They get Zach Wilson back this week. I think that's a headline. I don't know how big that headline is, though. He's 3-10. They expected good things out of him, but he's 3-10 all time. The team is still very much developing. They're an onside kick away from being 0-3 right now. So it's not like they're as scary as many people want to put them to be. Do you look at the Jets and say, man, this is a big challenge? Or do you look at the Jets and say, okay, this is maybe a little overhyped of a situation?
I think this is a game that they absolutely need to win. And not just because of the schedule, but I think just looking at this Jets team, like you mentioned, the youth that they're relying on over there is unique. They're a really, really young team. That's playing a lot of rookies. I mean, they have 3 first-round draft picks with Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. They got a lot of second-year guys that's playing. They got a banged-up offensive line who's they've been shuffling pieces around. They've got a tackle situation that's been pretty rough due to injuries. They do have some veterans, particularly with the linebackers. But it's a group that's really young. They're getting Zach Wilson back, like you mentioned. I'm not sure if that's going to be a great thing for them, but just by watching Flacco the first 3 weeks, it would be pretty hard not to be an upgrade over that. I think Joe's missed a lot of throws, man. These receivers are getting a good amount of separation. And that's not been very kind, or the film has not been very kind for Flacco, in my opinion. So we'll see if he does, give them a spark, because they really, really need it.
I had no idea Joe Flacco was bad. Like, I looked at the Joe, I was like, oh, 37-year-old Joe Flacco. He won a game. He's rowdying. This is, here we go. Love it. Because I had a lot of respect for Joe Flacco. And then I watched your film review that you put out today, and that sent me down a little bit of a wormhole, looking up what Joe Flacco's done through this season, and it's been bad.
Bro,
it's been much worse than I expected.
He's just so quick to check the ball down. I mean, they've got receivers that can get open. Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson they were torching some of these man coverage looks against, some of these teams. And he's just so quick to check the ball down. And just his accuracy in general. I mean, there's plays where guys are just running wide open. He's not able to get the ball to him. So I don't know. Zach Wilson's film last year, I didn't watch a ton of him, but I watched a couple games. The big thing that stuck out to me was just trouble manipulating the pocket and standing in there to make throws. He just had happy feet way too often, which, could be good or could be bad. If the Steelers are able to get pressure more so than they have in the past couple weeks, that could be really good. Or, if he has all day back there, maybe he feels pretty comfortable coming in and not as rusty as we're kind of anticipating.
Yeah, but the Steelers took advantage, and I get that the pass rush is not the same without TJ Watt, but if you're going to have happy feet in the pocket, if you're not going to have the awareness that a guy like Mac Jones has, Jacoby Brissett's, I feel like, a different situation. The Steelers could take advantage of that. I don't expect Cam Hayward to be put in a box all season long without TJ Watt. Alex Highsmith's, he's leading the league right now in sacks. You could say whatever you want. I think Alex Highsmith's here to stay. Like, this is a guy that it's year 3. This is when the growth is made. There was a reason that he didn't start, or that he started over Melvin Ingram. I look at this defense as, if he's going to have poor pocket awareness, they could take advantage, which is going to lead to mistakes in the back end. I like that a lot. Leads to the big question, though, for the Steelers. Akello Witherspoon not playing. Cam and Levi, which are 2 reliable corners, but Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore are, I don't know who's faster, but they both might be. That's a Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill situation. Not as good, obviously, but it's that same tandem, all speed. Cam Sutton, Levi Wallace, not speed. Big worry?
Yeah, it's definitely something that could play out in the Jets' favor, just the overall athleticism. But the Steelers are really going to face that with most teams they play, just because they don't have a lot of speed at corner. Witherspoon being out is a big deal, though, because he's kind of the guy that does have some speed to his game. And one thing that's really interesting to me, hold on, I'm going to address this. Donald said that Flacco was leading the NFL in passing yards. He's only averaging 5.8 yards per attempt, man. That's really just volume based. That's really not
0.3 better than Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, that's not any better than what we're kind of looking at. That's just volume. But it's going to be interesting to see, because they move the receivers around. They don't have like stationary spots. They'll move Garrett Wilson. A lot of his productions came in the slot. They'll move Corey Davis in there, who's kind of a bigger body target. They'll move Elijah Moore in there a little bit too. So it'll be interesting to see how the Steelers elect to mix and match their corners based on like personnel. If they choose to play Cam Sutton like strictly outside during this game without Witherspoon, or if they move him inside during sub-package football and maybe put James Pierre on the outside, that'll be really the first time that we get to see him. So I'm looking forward to seeing like what their game plan is on stopping the wideouts for sure.
Do you think that Pierre's an option here? He's outside of Akello, he's definitely the most athletic option that they have.
Yeah, I think he could certainly come into play. It just depends if their other option is they could leave Sutton outside and then kick Norwood into the slot. I don't think that they really want to play Malik
No,
in
if Millette lines up,
and obvious passing downs.
yeah, if Millette, like, you might as well just put Devin Bush out there and say, figure it out. There's no, it can't be Millette. I could see Norwood, especially if Minka plays, which I expect Minka to play. But I think James Pierre on the outside. I mean, he struggled last year. We can't deny that, but he is definitely the fastest of the group if he's going to stick with these guys. It's just a matter of, can his instincts hold up? And he looked good. We saw him at training camp. He looked good when he had to fill in for Cam Sutton for a little while, but that is training camp. That's a totally different story. Yeah. So
just got to make sure we're staying on. He just got to make sure he's staying on that upfield shoulder, man, and not being late to flip his hips. That was really his downfall last year, was those explosive plays that he gave up, particularly against the Bengals. It's just hard to come back from that when you're a corner. Eventually, coaches are going to look another way if you're giving up a bunch of big plays. So,
no, I agree. I mean, they're going to stare right at him. If James Pierre is on the field, that's where the ball's going. James Pierre,
they're going to test whoever's out there this week. I mean, as long as the protection holds up, like I said, they've got some issues at the tackle spot.
Yeah, who they rocking with starting left tackle this week?
I think it's still going to be Connor McDermott. I mean, they've lost multiple guys to injury, so they're down to like their third or fourth left tackle. Which again, Alex Highsmith's schedule.
I was going to say that could be a day.
Dude,
that could be a day.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that he could end up, like, he's going to be in the running, I think, for the sack leader. I mean, as crazy as that is with TJ not playing, but Alex has really came into his own, I feel like, over these past couple of weeks, and he's really stepped up without Watt in there. And you look at, the schedule of tackles that he's going to play. I mean, he's going to get a backup again this week. Donovan Smith for the Bucs is banged up at the moment. That's who they would play here in a couple weeks. So he's got a couple favorable matchups coming up to where I could see him getting a couple multi-sack games here. We'll see how aggressive the Jets are about, chipping him or, sliding protection his way. But
yeah, but you can't do that. I mean, like, I think the best part about Alex Highsmith this season is that, there is emergence there. And like you said, he could lead the league in sacks 6 weeks from now. But you can't take away from. I mean, you have two proven guys in the middle in Cam Hayward and Larry Ogunjobi, and even if they aren't producing right now, you can't look at an offensive line and say, "All right, guys, just let them be. We're gonna figure out Alex Highsmith." That's not the game plan. No matter what, you could do that to T.J. Watt. You can't do that to Alex Highsmith. So I agree with the chips, but the protections as a whole, I don't think Alex faces a lot of double teams or slides his way. I think that's still going to be Cam Hayward. You're right. This could be, 4.5 sacks by week 9. If he's already his career high in sacks, that's a year for Alex Highsmith right there. You got to win. I mean, the Steelers are still 0-7 without TJ Watt, so you have to figure out how to win. Do you credit that to defense at all? Do you credit the 0-7 to the defense not being able to get anything done without TJ? Or do you just look at it like a weird stat because the offense is so bad right now?
I think it can be both. Obviously, I don't think you can really measure TJ's full impact. I mean, it's not, coincidence that the defense completely looks much different when he's not in the lineup. And that's to be expected when you have, like, a defensive player of the year caliber type of player. But the offense, I mean, they really haven't really done much without him either. So they're definitely at least partially to blame with that record. I still think that this is going to be a game that they can win even without Watt, which I know is a tough thing to ask, but I still think that they can win. They have matchups across the board that I feel like work in their favor, particularly Highsmith, and just seeing how well he's played. I will say that they've really got to get more from the other guys in terms of pass rushing. Like, Highsmith is carrying their trenches right now. You look at even Cam Hayward, he's off to a slow start, but he's facing a good amount of double teams. They need more from guys like Ogunjobi. I know Montravius Adams, he's going to be inserted into the starting lineup this week, so more playing time for him. Malik Reed only has a couple pressures through 3 games. He's playing a lot of snaps now without Watt in the fold. They need more from him. So those other guys, they've got to start kind of helping him carry a little bit of that weight. And if they can make, Wilson feel uncomfortable in the pocket, I'm telling you, there's going to be turnovers that could potentially, come of that.
What about the run defense? There's a question here. If we're being honest, like Breece Hall looks really good, but he's a rookie. How many rookies can you rely on? Michael Carter, obviously, he's Michael Carter. He had a good season last year, continues to look all right. I look at the run defense and say, or the run offense of the Jets and say, this is talented. But just like you said, there's going to be turnovers. Like, I don't expect this to be a Steelers have to chase the lead type of game. Even if I expect it to be close, and I until proven otherwise, I'm going to look at every single game as it's going to be close. I still expect the Steelers to be out in front and for the Jets to have to somewhat play catch-up ball. I don't expect a lot of – plus, Breece Hall and Mike Carter are both utilized in the pass game just as much as they're utilized in the run game. But at the same time, the run defense has struggled, and these two are very young, like good backs.
Yeah, I think game script is going to play a big part in that, right? The Jets have been playing from behind really all season, so we haven't really got to see a ton of their run game. I mean, they've been down, they've been having to come from behind, so that's going to limit the opportunities that your backs can have carrying the football. They do utilize them in the pass game. Michael Carter was a guy that I really liked coming out, and I really, really liked Breece Hall because he was my RB1 coming out this past year. Really good player in college for a long time, can do a little bit of everything. Really love watching him run the ball, but I just don't know. Like you said, it's going to depend on game script. If the Steelers are able to actually show some signs of life early and turn this into a make Zach Wilson beat us from behind type of game, that kind of eliminates some of the threat of them running the football kind of down their throats. Now, if it's close, like the Steelers kind of have been in recent weeks, then there's a potential chance that could definitely come back and bite them. The Jets have some quality interior offensive linemen that can kind of move people in like a zone blocking scheme. So Laken Tomlinson, he's kind of come into his own later in his career. He kind of took a little bit to develop, but he was a big free agent signing for them. He's a pretty good player. They got some guys up front that can move some people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, outside of the left tackle situation, the offensive line does look good. Tomlinson was a dude I thought the Steelers could look at potentially this offseason, last offseason. When he signed with the Jets?
He signed this year, I think.
This offseason. I think, I believe it was. I just remember him being an option for the Steelers, and I looked at that. So I agree, but I still think and there's a good question out there, is this a trap game? Like, that's how I look at this, is the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to come in here, and I think they're going to come in here red hot just because that's what they do in games like this. Matt Canada is going to throw everything up against the wall. The defense is going to look real good right at the beginning because they're rested off of 10 days of rest. Put the Jets in a rough situation, and then it's just about, do the Jets stick with what they wanted to do, or do the Jets adjust and now they say, hey, Zach Wilson, go win us a football game? I don't know if I trust Zach Wilson to win a football game. He's 3-10 right now. I get that team's rough, but I don't think this is going to be a Browns game where it's like, okay, if you stop the running game, you're going to win. I think the Jets, there's an opportunity where you put the Jets in a rough spot early. The Jets game plan is going to pretty much eliminate what they got going on there in the running game by themselves. So that's just, and that's just my expectations. I don't watch a lot of Jets football. Even if Jets are playing Sunday night, Monday night football, I don't know how often I'm turning that on. I'm chilling. I lose enough money as it is. I don't really need to be out here just wasting money on the Jets. Let's answer this one though. Do you consider this a trap game? Can you be a trap game 1 and 2?
I don't think you can have a trap game when you're 1 and 2. That's just me. This is just a game that they absolutely have to win, in my opinion. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, I think there's a must-win kind of feel because of the schedule that lies ahead. So, the Jets, I know we kind of talked about a lot of the negatives kind of with their team, but like I said, they do have some weapons on offense, some young guys that can make some plays. And then, I think their interior offensive line with Tomlinson and Vera Tucker has a couple good players as well. So
I forgot
they're definitely not they're definitely not scrubs, but this just isn't a team that I feel like should be able to come in on the road and just win the game.
So I'm gonna ask a really dumb question here because I was talking to somebody and they brought him up. Would you have rather drafted Vera Tucker, which I understand he wasn't available, or traded the Bears for a healthy Tevin Jenkins? Because somebody brought that up to me the other day, and I was like, oh, that's a tougher situation than I think I would know how to answer.
Yeah, I liked Vera Tucker a lot as a prospect. I wasn't.
Yeah, but Tevin Jenkins, you weren't high on Tevin Jenkins?
I wasn't that high on Tevin Jenkins. I didn't think. Wow. I thought Jenkins had a long way to go in pass pro. I like the physicality in the run game, and he could definitely provide you, some sparks there. But I thought he was right tackle only, and he wasn't a guy that I thought was just going to come in and play extremely well as a pass protector, which we've kind of seen some of that. But I think some of his struggles can also be attributed to the fact that he hasn't been like completely healthy. I know he had that back injury. It's always kind of hard to say, just like with rookies. You kind of got to give them two full years, really 3, depending on the position, to kind of feel like you have a good feel for, how they've adjusted to the pro level. But Vera Tucker, I think, is definitely a good player. I think he's going to be a really good player for a long time for the Jets. I think the jury's still out on Jenkins. I know they've I think Chicago's
dealt with every injury.
They've also like tweaked around with moving him inside or potentially moving him inside. So, which again, that might be a better fit for his skill set, honestly.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know. I mean, whatever you say, you know what I mean? Like, you're the draft guy. If I have a question, I just text you or I ask you, and then whatever you say, I'm like, yeah, all right, well, that's my new train of thought for the rest of time because I'm wrong and I understand that I'm wrong. All right, let's get into the defense a little bit. The offense a little bit. We just talked a lot about the defense. Let's get into the offense a little bit. Mitch Trubisky, the whole 9. But first, we got a word from our boys at Manscaped. Welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's time. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excessive leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with our code STEELERS20. Whether you're brand new or already with us at Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0. With the glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine all in one swoop. Inside this 10-part Platinum package is everything you know and love about the Performance Package, plus some shower goodies included to elevate your grooming game to Platinum. The Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer and Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer feature proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to protect your delicate parts and holes. Both are waterproof, so you can keep scaping even as the weather's changing. In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to apply their aluminum-free Ultra Premium deodorant. And don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice, it's cologne quality fragrance. Even if it was pumpkin spice, I'd be pretty hyped. I won't lie to you. But we should have a signature scent for our pits. Use Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner to make sure your go-to smell is top shelf and not sweaty balls. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Platinum Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag, both specifically made to hold your goodies. Get the Platinum Package this fall. These products are guaranteed to be hits for your dangly bits. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with our code STEELERS20. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com when you use our code STEELERS20. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree's trunk. Time to shine. Love them. Love them. Yeah, I gotta ask the audience out there, everybody, chilling. If you guys want me to block the great one, just let me know. You know, I'm not about trolls. Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry. No, I didn't want to interrupt your ad read. I think they're kind of having fun with Buddy a little bit. I gotta ask though, my question to the great one, like, bro, do you not have anything else better to do? I mean, clearly you don't, but like you've been on a
He just
Steelers
said
podcast for 25 minutes trolling listeners. Like,
trolling.
bro,
He did
that's
just say that he won $2 million though. Let's do some giveaways. Come on, man, jump on the show. You want to talk
funny.
Bengals Steelers?
It's funny.
You do a giveaway, we'll match it. We'll do a giveaway with you. Funny. We got keepers, we got block 'em. Love it. I love everybody that, like, I love the people that, and I appreciate everybody out here, but like, you could tell if you're like a first time here for the ad read and you're like, oh, he kept a straight face. I'm always keeping it. I love those things. I tell Manscaped all the time. I saw somebody at training camp and they were like, dude, I love your ad reads, man. You're like, they didn't even know my name. They're like, you're the Manscaped guy, right? I was like, that's me. That's who I am. That's how I am. All right. So subscribe to, appreciate y'all. Yeah, won $2 million. Come on, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk, do some giveaways. I'm all about it. All right. Let's talk about the Steelers offense. Mitch Trubisky, Najee Harris, Matt Canada. A lot going on here. Okay. The New York Jets, you're 1-2. I will say this, and I asked George Pickens and he gave me nothing, but you guys all know that I just break all the rules on the show and I'm going to continue to do so. I tried to get it out of Pickens that they've been doing nothing but throwing deep all day to him all week long. Like, I don't think they've run another play at practice besides deep ball to George Pickens. So do you expect that? Or do you just think, okay, they're going to practice it, they're going to practice it, they're going to practice it, and then come the game, they're going to throw 4-yard passes. They're all going to be along the sideline, and they're going to stink.
I think good things happen when they throw to George. So I would prefer that they at least, try to do that. I would like to see his route tree kind of be diversified a little bit. Pretty much the only thing he's running right now is hitches and go routes. Yeah. So when you're running that type of route tree, you're basically a decoy a lot of the time. And that's pretty much what he's been so far. But, you got to give him chances. And I know some people have kind of talked about, is he open? Is he not open? George is saying he's open like 99% of the time. I'm not really sure I agree with that, but there have been times where he's had separation. Yeah. And also with Pickens, like if you watch him at Georgia, he's unique down the field too, because just because there's a guy near him does not mean that he can't make the catch. He's a guy that you've got to give a chance to in those contested catch situations. And you look at it already. I mean, last week was a good example. Like, he can win those 50-50 balls. So you just got to
win every one of those. If he can make those catches. He said that was his 7th best catch of his life.
He's been saying that. He's been saying that since he was at Georgia.
I know. That's always just 7. Even when he made that tip it to himself, one-handed grab at training camp, it was 7. I went back and looked.
Have y'all if Steelers fans, I'm sure y'all have, because there was a bunch of hype around him, after he was drafted. I think partially because I was banging the table for that. But if you haven't already, man, go to YouTube and watch some of his like practice catches.
That's what he said. He said most of them are in practice. He said most of the crazy ones are in practice, which, like, it's one thing, like, that would be disappointing if it wasn't, if it didn't happen on Thursday night. If it wasn't like, okay, well, it clearly translates to the game if you give him the opportunity. That was ridiculous. That was the greatest. In my opinion, good. Like, people say that the OBJ catch is the greatest catch of all time. That smokes the OBJ catch. Smokes the OBJ catch.
It's pretty good. I don't know how I'd rank it, but it's one of the better catches that I've seen. I mean, that was just phenomenal, So yeah, I don't know. Ridiculous. I definitely think that they need to get him more involved. It's just a matter of, when you're only running really 2 routes, they're only running curls and go routes with him, it's going to be hard to do that. Like I said, he's going to be used as a decoy a lot. But I would like to just see like 1 to 2 shots a game. just down the field just to give him a chance to win those 50-50 balls. The Steelers offense, has done a little bit better in terms of throwing the ball down the field more, but they're still not getting a ton of explosive plays, and that's just kind of what they're kind of looking for.
Do you think Mitch is a guy that could push it on the field consistently?
Accuracy-wise, no. That's something that he's really struggled with really his entire career.
Feel like you need that if you're going to throw the football, but okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
he
has shown more of a tendency to do so. So you got to at least recognize that. His ADOT averaged at the target this year is I want to say it's top 10 in the NFL. I mean, they have. It's not that they haven't tried to push the ball down the field; they just haven't been very successful in doing so, and they're still not using anything close to the middle of the field.
Yes, and that was the one thing. Again, I'm not allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. It was all a lot. I'll just say it was all a lot of the same. It was a lot of good when it was deep balls to Pickens, and he was burning everybody. I get that it's a scout team defense, but it wasn't like he was burning them by a yard. He was 15 yards in front of people catching the football. It wasn't even close. But it was a lot of the same. And you have to find the middle of the field. I think that's more important than pushing it deep, is if you could get guys like Pat Freiermuth involved, and you could get, Chase Claypool involved in the middle of the field instead of the outside of the field, possibly get Gunner involved. It opens everything up, and it's going to open up the outside. You want Pickens to be open on the outside. You want Deontay Johnson to be open on the outside. Draw attention to the middle of the field and make sure that defenses have to cover the whole thing instead of stacking the box and playing too high, and understanding that's all they need to do. It's over. You don't have to change anything at that point. So Mitch is a tough one. I get that. It's even tough to keep talking about it because at this point, it's okay, well, we've seen what they're doing. It's more about what they should be doing. We understand what they should be doing. Talked about it for 3 weeks. Now are they ever going to do it? And Matt Canada seemed to say that, it's going to work. It's going to work. We just have to keep doing it, and it's going to work. I don't believe him, but, he could tell that he's hitting the end of the line there. Do you expect anything in the run game to switch? Because this is the thing. There's a lot of people giving up on Najee Harris. A ton. Najee Harris is terrible, blah, 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 blah. I went back because I was like, why is it? I get it. He's having 3 rough games, but so is the entire team. So what are we doing here? And you look at the numbers. Najee stunk until week 4 last year because the offensive line stunk and couldn't open any holes all season long. The offensive line running wise is much better, and I get that. But Najee's not having terrible games. He's rushing for 50 yards. Week 4, he had 81 or something. And then from there on, it was just 100-yard game, 80-yard game, 100-yard game. I expect this week to possibly do the same. Do you live with the notion that Najee's an issue, or do you live with the notion that, Najee could just be just like last season?
Najee could be a little bit better. He's missed some holes on the ground game. Still a little bit of a tendency to kind of bounce stuff, maybe not be as decisive as he should be. But this is very much a offensive line running game that's under construction. I mean, they got a lot of new faces. They got a new center, a new right guard. Kevin Dotson barely played last year. So really the tackles were really the only pieces really returning. It does seem like they're kind of moving to more of a zone blocking scheme this year. And I think that fits what Najee wants to do. I'm not sure if that's going to be the strength necessary of their offensive line. We'll wait and see. But I do think there was flashes against Cleveland, particularly in those 2 scoring drives where they were moving the ball down the field, and not just through the air, but on the ground as well. And that's really something that needs to continue. You just want to continue to see progress. I think with Najee, he just got to be a little bit more decisive. Not be so quick to bounce stuff just because he's, a really good athlete, and he kind of got away with that at Alabama. I don't think we should be pressing the panic button on Najee. Maybe he's not the that elite playmaker that many people thought that they were getting right off the bat, but I'm definitely not pushing the panic button. I've been seeing people on Twitter saying like bust, and I don't agree with that.
Not a bust. Not a bust.
So
There's so many intangibles that
Najee.
Yeah, you gotta give it time. And there's so many other things. Like Najee's just a very reliable football player, and I agree with you. His vision needs work. I don't know if it'll ever get any better or if that's just something that he's gonna have to live with. But I think the other part of this is I have a lot more faith in the offensive line today than I've had in the last 2 years, and I think that can only get better. Huh? Longer than that. Yeah, possibly 3 years. Like, it's been so long before you look at offensive line. And even this year, we talked all summer about offensive line is going to suck. It's going to be terrible. And expect the worst. And here we are. And I'm like, the offensive line ain't bad. Like, it's not good.
They're
bad.
Bad. They're bad in the preseason. Somehow in the first 3 weeks, they played really good. So, I mean, like not great, but, especially they've been solid and way above expectation, in my opinion. So,
way above expectations and reliable. I think they've been reliable enough. They have their mishaps, no doubt. There's a lot of bad penalties you got to get rid of. But, I mean, we're past the days of you get in the red zone and Dan Moore gets called for 4 holding calls in a row, and then everybody jumps except for the center. Like, those aren't happening. And I think the veteran pieces are adding to this. So I think that if that develops, their passing cover, their pass protection right now is their best asset. And I think that you keep developing this run game, the offensive line is going to click with the run game. Like, I actually have some faith there. It's like, it's crazy how much faith I have in the offense. But I mean, the end of the day, the only question that remains is, do you expect anything to change, or do you look at this and say it's just going to be the same?
I don't think we're going to get the wholesale changes that many people are looking for out of this offense. I mean, it's just so hard to kind of overhaul what you're kind of planning for in the offseason. There are things that they can do a little bit better. I mean, some of the not using the middle of the field is on Mitch. Some of it's on Canada, in my opinion. But I'm really looking forward to seeing just the continual improvement. If we continue to get this upward trajectory from the offensive line, that's obviously going to help the run game. I just think they just need to be more consistent, man. Like, there's been a couple flashes, and they have been willing to use Jaylen Warren a little bit more than they've used previous backup running backs, which I think is good.
Jaylen Warren's also the best backup running back they've had since James Conner.
Yeah.
Since James Conner. And James Conner wasn't even that good as a rookie.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Jaylen Warren gets involved, but I agree. I think you look at this and it's, until proven otherwise, your expectations, it's just like the offensive line, and hopefully it's the same result. But you look at this, and until you've seen it, you just got to look at it and say this is going to be the same. And honestly, Matt Canada's comments were not very things are going to change. It was more, we're just going to keep doing it, and eventually it's going to click. You're like, no, it's not. It's been 2 years. It's not. Change it. There's a thing in here about Canada sounds like a boyfriend that just keeps cheating. He knows, he knows. He laughs walking up to the podium when he's about to do his press conferences. He fully understands that there is no Steelers fan left who has faith in this offense, and it's on him. But I mean, there's been a lot of Todd Haley talk. Oh, God. Could you imagine if the Steelers called him and he was just sitting there with his parrot or something? Did you ever see his house in Florida? It's like
I didn't.
it's enclosed. So like the pool area is enclosed, and he's just got like wild birds and giant trees flying all over the pool area. Oh yeah, it's crazy. And they just yeah. If you're into that, no doubt. But I can see that.
I'm sure they got a tequila cowboy down there somewhere.
I think sometimes he just makes his way back up. I think that's, when he started, where is he coaching now? Is he coaching the XFL, the USFL?
I know he was coaching in one of those leagues originally. I know he's not coaching anywhere like in the league. But
no, I knew it was one of those leagues, but I was wondering if he, took the XFL job hoping that he'd land in Pittsburgh.
Close proximity.
Yeah, it was just like, all right, well, if I get the Pittsburgh team, At least, no, the USFL. I think it's the USFL that has the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh team, and they all play in Alabama this year. And then next year which I don't know where you're going to put another football team in Pittsburgh, because there's no way Art Rooney's going to be like, yeah, you could just go destroy our field on, when do they play? Saturdays in the spring? Yeah, I guess maybe they could. I don't know. Todd Haley I would love to I've never met Todd Haley, so I would like to interview Todd Haley. I got Randy Fichtner. I got Keith Butler. People disliked Keith Butler. Let me tell you, he was my favorite person to talk to every single week. You never knew what was going to come out of his mouth ever.
He's a good guy.
A great guy. He was a great human being. Like, great human being. So was Randy. Randy was two incredible guys. Maybe not the best coaches, but like, you would watch the PR guys stand there, and like, as Keith was talking, their eyes would just be like, oh, no, stop. And you'd be like, yeah, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Like when he called Stephon Tuitt fat, and he was like, yep, he's out of shape. And everybody's like, oh, I didn't know that one. And then he was like, he's got a knee injury. Like, didn't know that one either, huh? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, Keith was the guy. I think Todd Haley would be a little bit of the same, especially if he had a quarterback that he could mold himself. I'd love it. Oh gosh, some of the comments are great. All right, last thing left. Best part of the week. I don't know what we are right now. I think we're both. You didn't
I'm
get to do. You're 0-2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you went Steelers week 2, 2017. Week 1 you went Bengals. Yep. Should have won by a touchdown. Yeah, you're rough right now. I'm
shambles.
I'm 1-2, sitting strong with the Steelers. Heading into week 4, New York Jets. Pittsburgh is a 3.5 point favorite, 41.5 over under, which is a high over under if you're asking me. Very high over under.
It was 38 against Cleveland, right?
37.5. It was 37. And I only know that because I took the under, just like everybody else. And here we are. 41.5, 3.5 point favorites. Zach Wilson at home. Okay, let me ask this. I asked Steven this before I ask you your score prediction. Do you think there's a possibility Kenny Chance start as Mitch gets introduced on Sunday?
Yeah, probably.
Thank you. Steven was like, no way. I'm like, I don't know, man.
I'll say the Boo Birds are out if they go 3 and out on their first possession.
Oh, the Boo Birds are loud. Kenny Pickett Chance would be heard. I live about 20 minutes from the stadium. I bet you my fiance hears them sitting on the couch by the time. Oh, easy. But I said, Steven was like, no way. Got to have more class than that. I'm like, Steelers fans do not care about class. They are hard-nosed, true-blooded, love the Pittsburgh Steelers fans. And I love everything about that life. I would fully expect some booze, at least a little bit of booze, and now at quarterback. Number 10, Kenny. I could see it. I could see it happening right now. All right. 3.5 point favorites, 41.5 over under. Steelers, Jets, week 4. What do you got?
I'm taking the Steelers. Let
me get my pen ready. I'm documenting them, all of them this year.
And I guess give me the over. I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great about it whatsoever. Maybe like a little bit of a backdoor over. But yeah, I'm taking the Steelers this week, and then I'll take the over.
You got to score. Over's 41.5, 3.5.
24-20.
I won by a touchdown.
24-20.
Yeah. You're always right around the same. What was your last week? It was like 24-20.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
I didn't get to pick the Cleveland game because it was on Thursday.
Oh, true. All right, 24-20 Steelers. I'm like I said, I'm documenting every single one of these. At the end of the season, we're going by. Losers, I don't know what losers doing. Losers buying first round of drinks at the combine. All right, over under 41.5. Wow, that's tough. That's really tough because all you have to do is score a touchdown. Like the offense scores 2 touchdowns. I fully expect it to hit the over, but like you're asking so much. I'm gonna say they come out guns a blazing. George Pickens catches a touchdown early right off the bat. Najee Harris breaks a run. He gets in the end zone as well. Maybe Jaylen Warren, one of the two. So I'm going to go with the under as well. I'm also going to take the Steelers. I don't think there's any chance you walk in there 2-3 or 1-4. I just don't see it happening. 24-20 was a good score. So I have to have at least 22. How do you even get to 22? You can't. I think the defense plays well, even without anything wrong. Like, I think this is the game that like teases a little bit. You know what I mean? We're like all week in the locker room. It's like, oh, we finally clicked. And then it's like Buffalo happened. And you're like, oh my God, what's going on right now? So I'm going to go 24-14. Oh, that's not over.
It's under.
That's under. All right. I'm taking the under. I'm going under because I don't think the Jets are scoring more than 14 points. So I'm going 24-14 Steelers. I'm feeling good about that. I'm still hammering in the under, but just because of the Jets. And we'll see what happens. If we both walk out losers this week, I think at that point, maybe we just start like predicting other games because we're just that bad. And maybe to some degree, we might be the cause of all of this downfall. So
blame us.
Yeah, you could blame us. 35-17. That's a lot of offensive touchdowns. You get 5 turnovers, couldn't even score 35 points against Cincinnati. So we'll see. Take the weather if the weather's good. I like it all. All right, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, go use our promo code for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Enjoy the weekend. I can't even say hammer the over or the under because we are undecided. So do what you're feeling. Go Steelers. We'll see you at Acrisure Stadium. Peace.